Hi, I'm Dr. Lana Denny, Bulletproof Babes, and today we're going to talk about the predator interview because you do not want to fail this. Before a predator decides if you're going to be their next victim, they interview you. Now, when I say predators, I'm not just talking about serial killers, right? It can be a narcissist trying to make their way into your life so they can drain you of your time, your energy, and sometimes your money. And they'll test your boundaries to see, will you push back, or will you freeze? So they can start small, right? It can be a physical test, like a hand on your shoulder, or a verbal test, like a joke that crosses the line, or a request that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you laugh it off, if you shrink instead of speak, then they learn everything they need to know because that moment is not random. It's data collection. They're reading your reaction to see whether you're going to be easy to manipulate or hard to control. And most people think that being nice keeps them safe. It doesn't. Poor boundaries do not protect you, they set you up to be a victim. So, my friend was raped on a trail, a jogging trail in San Diego, by a guy who was walking by her in the other direction as she was jogging. And he asked her for the time. Now, that may seem harmless, but this was really a classic predator interview. Because think about it. Would you ever ask someone who's jogging for the time? But being the people pleaser that she is, with poor boundaries, she stopped running to give him an answer. And that passivity, that people pleasing, that being overly polite gave him the green light, and she was attacked. Unfortunately, I see a lot of women with poor boundaries, and it breaks my heart. 2 days ago, I was on a flight from Singapore to San Francisco. And as you can imagine, that is a long, miserable 15-hour flight. And the woman seated directly in front of me lucked out because the seat next to her, the aisle seat, had no one there. And just as the plane was about to take off, here comes this guy with the flight attendant. And he comes over and asks if he can sit in that chair. Now, look, nobody wants a stranger sitting next to them for a 15-hour flight, right? You just don't. She could have put her stuff there. She could have put her feet up. She could have used that space. I was actually envious. I would have liked to have that space. But she said, well, what's wrong with your seat? And he said, well, the TV screen's too far away because he had a crappy seat kind of in the middle of the plane against the bulkhead. So the screen was a little bit further out. And I could see her struggle. It was brutal, man. And then she looked at the flight attendant to kind of back her up. And the flight attendant's like, hey, it's your decision, right? Because you can't expect somebody else to enforce your boundaries. And finally, she gave in and said, oh, okay. You know, so disappointing. And, why not say, I'm uncomfortable with that? Or a simple, no, thank you. In that moment, she prioritized that guy's needs and comfort over her own. And she doesn't even know him. It's a stranger. So, how do you end a predator interview? With a boundary? A look that says, I see what you're doing, or a voice that says, that's not okay, or I'm not comfortable with that, or no, thank you. Hey, that's a complete sentence. You don't have to yell, just stand firm and repeat this mantra in your head. I'm not auditioning for approval, I'm enforcing my safety. Or every time I honor my boundaries, I build my power. And if you're worried about offending someone who's already in your life and pushing your boundaries, remember this. The only people who will object to you having good boundaries are those who benefited from you not having them. Hey, if you like getting safety and personal empowerment tips, to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. You'll get much more than this little content. It is totally private. We never share your email, and the link is in the description. Hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.